Hello folks, welcome to the Age of Asparagus. By the end of this video we'll have 5 different weapons to utilize all of the weapon variation code we wrote back in episode 3.4, including a pistol, shotgun, Uzi, rifle, and 50 cal. Well, I'm not sure why we didn't create all our weapons right after the initial weapons variation video. This should have followed that directly, but I was planning to do pickups and weapon drops and stuff next, but we didn't actually create the weapon variations. We created all the functionality for them, but we didn't actually create different weapons, so we're going to do that here. So here I am in the gun scene, and this is kind of going to be our template, and we're going to do a little bit of inheritance here. So we're going to use this as a template, and from the scene menu I'm going to create a new inherited scene, and from there I'm going to choose, in the weapons, I'm going to choose our gun scene. So this is going to be the base scene, kind of the base class or the base node for our next. So this is a new one, it's a copy of it. You can see here that these are all grayed out, all the child nodes of our gun, and we're going to start with the simplest weapon, which will be a pistol. So I'm going to hit Control S here and we'll save this. I actually want to save this in a new folder, and we'll call this, I'll just create a guns folder, and in there I'm going to name this pistol. So here's our pistol scene. Now the pistol scene, all I need is a handle and a little barrel. So let's we can get rid of the magazine because the magazine's going to be in the handle, but we can't delete scenes from an inherited scene here. So instead what we can do is we can just make it invisible for our purposes. And I'm going to hit 3 on the number pad and zoom in a bit so that we can edit this mesh. I'm going to rotate this around. The handle is going to be a little more vertical, and I'm going to make the barrel a little shorter, so I'll switch into here scaling mode. That's probably good. We'll just move it back a bit. Yeah, that's all we need. So if I go to the gun here, there's no place to actually put a name for each of our weapon variations. So if in our HUD, for example, our heads-up display, if we wanted to show what the name of the current weapon the player has, we can't really do that. So let's actually go, and this will kind of showcase, if you need a little refresher about how inheritance works, is I can change almost everything. I can't delete nodes, and the animation player is a little touchy with trying to make changes in an inherited scene. But for example, I could hit this refresh button and it'll refresh any of these values back to our base scene, which is this gun. So let's go back into our gun scene. We'll go to the script and let's add a new, right at the top of our exports, we'll add a new export variable. It'll be called gun name, and by default I'll just put gun here. Okay, so in our guns inspector you can see the gun name gun, and the beauty here of the inheritance is if I go to my pistol, it's going to pick up that change as well and have the gun name here, which I can now change to pistol. And at any point, if I want to go back to the default, I can hit refresh and it'll go back to whatever the base node or the base scene, which is this gun. Okay, so my pistol, let's name that pistol, and let's set up some properties specific to the pistol. So we don't need, just gonna expand this out to make sure, we don't need 3 shots there, so I'm gonna get rid of those other bullet spawns. We just need the center one. Oops, I accidentally changed the muzzle speed there. I'm gonna click that to return it to defaults. We're not going to change these values. It's going to be single shot. The burst shots doesn't matter because we're just using single. Mag capacity 13, that's fine. And we'll use the default bullet, that's fine too. It's just the default bullet just does 1 damage. And that's all we need. So I'm going to hit Control S there, we'll save that. We've got 1 weapon. One thing, let's just make sure the muzzle's in the right spot. Oh, no, we want to move it to the front of the pistol. And let's just try it out. So let's go to the player. No, actually, let's go to the game, and we'll just use this version of the player. So click on the gun controller, and now we'll drop the pistol into the starting weapon. Let's run that and see what happens. There's our little pistol. That looks good. And we do a little reload. Not bad. Okay. Okay, so let's go create the next weapon. Now the goal here is we're just going to create a small variety of weapons that kind of showcases and slowly increases in power, but kind of uses all our options here. So let's create a new inherited scene again. We're going to go from our base gun scene. We could have called this gun template or gun base. That would make sense. And this one I'm going to save as in the guns folder. Let's save this one as a shotgun. So we have a shotgun here. I'm going to click on it and just make sure you're in the shotgun here. So under gun name we can call it shotgun. For the shotgun, it's going to actually shoot shot. So kind of a neat excuse for us to keep all 3 of these bullet spawns. Now it's only going to shoot 3, so it's a bit of an abstraction, but that'll work for us. We don't want auto mode. We'll just do a single shot. And in fact, for our shotgun, let's actually have a mag capacity of 1. Which means after every shot you're going to have to reload, like, you know, Terminator 2 style shotgun. However, I also want to make the bullet more powerful. So I know it's only shooting 3 instead of like a whole spray of shot, but to compensate for that in the abstract, we'll just make some more powerful bullets. So let's go actually create a new inherited scene, this time from our bullet. So I'm going to go up, back. We'll use the bullet as our base scene, and I'm going to save this one. I'm going to create a new folder called bullets, and well, basically I'm just going to, you could have all sorts of bullets if you want, but I'm going to have 2 kinds. I'm going to have high power bullets and low power bullets, which will just be the defaults. And the only difference for the high power bullet is I'm going to make them do 4 damage. So the reason for that with the game design considerations is that our enemies currently have 10 hit points. So if I make them 4 damage, that means in a spray shot, if they get hit by all 3 of those bullets, the enemy will die. Also, if we have a weapon with a 3-round burst, if you hit the enemy with all 3 bullets in that 3-round burst, it will kill it. So that's why I'm choosing 4 here for the high-powered bullets. Okay, so now we can, let's save that. Close it, and in our shotgun here, I'm going to save this as well. In the inspector, let's go drag our high power bullet. So now it should do 4 damage in a spray, but you have to reload every time. So it's a little more powerful, but it's kind of annoying. Okay, let's hit 3 on the number pad here, and let's create a shotgun. So the shotgun's going to be a little longer. I'm going to we just need 3 pieces. I'm going to reuse them all. I'm going to bring the muzzle out a bit and make it a little bit longer. And then I'm going to make, okay, I'm going to rotate this a little bit like that. And then this piece, I'm going to rotate here, just giving it a little bit of a shotgunny shape. I'm going to zoom in a bit. And I'm going to turn off snap here so I can get it how I want it. You might have a little, doesn't have to be perfect here. This is just kind of an abstract. Does that work? I think I might go in a bit. Yeah, something like that, right? Pretty simple shotgun. Great. Let's save that, and let's see how this looks like in our game. Drag the shotgun over. And is it too long or is it okay? Oh, it's pretty long. Definitely pretty long. There's our shot. I have to reload, shot, reload. I hit with all 3 and it worked. Perfect, that's what I want. So it's a little more powerful, but it is still pretty annoying. It's also sticking way out of the body. Maybe I'm going to pull it in a little bit for the shotgun. So hit 3 here. I'm just going to select everything and move it back a bit. And let's also make sure the muzzle's in the right spot. It is not. Muzzle should be out there. Save that. I also want the reload animation to be a little bit longer than it is. So let's go to the gun animation player. We're going to go to the reload. And instead of 0.4, I'm just going to make it like, let's try 0.8. And what I can do here is I can select the 2 end keyframes and I'm just going to move them over to 0.8, that line right there. And then what I want it to do is I want it to go up, pause a little bit up there and then come back down. Okay, so I'm going to move the timeline to where I want to hold it till. So it's going to go up a little bit, it'll hold till there, and then it'll go down. So I'm going to right click this one, duplicate the key, and then basically this keyframe is going to hold that angle and then go down a little bit. There we go. Now it doesn't actually stop there, it actually has a little bit of, it still kind of like goes up a little bit and then down, and that's because we have this smooth cubic motion. If we did it linear, it would be up, stop, down, stop, but I actually want it a little smoother, a little bit. That looks better. There we go. And also the reload will be a little more of a delay and more annoying from game design purposes. Okay, so we can get rid of that gun. We have a pistol, we have a shotgun. Next up, we're going to create an Uzi, which is going to have pretty weak bullets, but it'll be auto fire. So we'll, same thing, new inherited scene. I'm going to go back up and inherit from our gun. I'm going to hit 3 here, zoom in. Let's do the inspector first. So we'll call this an Uzi. And it's going to have just normal bullets, like the weak bullets. It's only going to have a single spawn. It's going to be full auto. And we'll give it a mag capacity of 10, which I think was the original Uzi mag capacity. Again, we're going to hide this one. Let's rotate this to about 90. And we'll bring this back. And we'll drop this down a bit. Actually, I guess this should probably be over something like that. It's pretty simple, but that's all we need. Okay, let's make sure the muzzle's in front of the weapon. There we go. Control S. In our guns, we'll save this as an Uzi. Excellent. Let's try it out. There's our Uzi. It might be a little small, I'm not sure, but just because our pistol's big compared to it, that works. Excellent. Scene, new inherited scene. We're going to inherit again from our base gun. This time we're going to go with a rifle. So this one will do, it'll just be a 3-round burst rifle. So I'm going to hit 3 here and zoom in a bit because we're going to edit the mesh. This time we'll only have a single shot. We'll put it in burst mode, and we'll have a mag capacity of 30. I do want this to use the high power bullet, so it's going to be a 3-round burst, and if you hit the enemy with all 3 rounds, then it'll die. At least the basic enemy will. And okay, so for this weapon, let's make the main part of the weapon a little bit longer here. And then I'm going to rotate, oops, go back to the select mode. And I'm going to rotate the pistol grip on the rifle. Now there's going to be a bit of a stock butt to the rifle, so we'll move that in. And then the magazine here, we just want it bigger, so we'll scale it. But we don't want to scale it weird like that, so we're going to click this to go into local space. And then that way we can scale it to make it a bigger magazine. There we go. Ooh, that's a bit big. I can just move that up a bit, I guess, right? Yeah, that looks okay. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to actually give it a new, we're going to add a new piece of mesh, which we can do in an inherited scene. We'll just add a new mesh instance, which I don't see. New cube mesh. There we go. And down here in the transform, let's set its Y and Z to 0.1. And I'm going to go hit 3 again. I'm just going to make it a little bit longer. This is going to be obnoxiously long, I think. There we go. Grab the muzzle, put the muzzle right on the end. Okay, so we need this color though, and I don't think we actually saved these materials when we did it. So I'm just going to select one of our meshes. And under the material, I'm going to save the material here. Oops, let's go back to our gun, base gun. There we go, we'll pick a piece of this mesh. And the material, we'll save it under, call it gun material. Good. And let's go. So the mesh instance here is going to be, we want the gun material. Open that up. There we go. Drop the gun material in. Good. Okay, so we're going to, did we name it rifle? Nope. So let's name it rifle. And we'll go Control S. Save this under our guns as rifle. Good. And do we want to test this? It's always good to test it. Plus it's kind of fun. Let's go. Now we're going to have a rifle. Boom. Looks cool. 3-round burst. Annoying, but if we hit them all, it should kill it. So let's just see. Oh wow, it sticks out lots. Yeah, these are going to get harder and harder to use as enemies get closer and closer to you. Okay. Now the next step might be, I think the next logical step actually is to be a fully automatic rifle. So I'm going to do that. I'm not going to change the mesh. I'm going to duplicate this. And it'll be, we'll just call it fully auto rifle. And then here, we'll open that up. It's all going to be the same, except it's going to be auto. Oh boy, reset that. What's going on here? It's going to be auto. Mag capacity can remain 30. Fully auto rifle. We'll still use high power bullets. And then the only step up from here is basically a fully automatic rifle with burst mode, which we're going to do next, and we'll call that our 50 caliber. So let's, scene, new inherited scene, oops, our base gun, call this our 50 cal, and I'll save that in guns as well as 50 cal. So this is going to be, it'll spray, it'll be in fully automatic mode. Mag capacity. What mag capacity we do use for a 50 cal? So this is gonna be pretty powerful. So let's just say like a 10-round magazine. Maybe there a future pickup you could get like a belt or something. Okay, so let's go again. 3 on the number pad. We'll zoom in here. What am I gonna do for this one? So this one basically I'm just gonna have a huge stock. So let's go move that back a bit. We'll scale it a little bit larger. Then we'll grab this one, move that here, and we'll scale that one a little bit larger. Then we can turn this one into the muzzle. Oops, if we can't get that rotation right, we can go to the transform and just set rotation to 0. And for the muzzle, I'm going to go scale it 0.1 small, similar to like we did the other one. And then we'll scale that. I think I want that up a bit, like that. Probably want this one up a bit too. So imagine that's the stock. There we go. Does that work? Give it a nice... And then, I can't duplicate these, which would be nice, because that's the size I want. So we'll just add a little bipod just to make it a little more obvious that this is a big machine gun. New cube mesh. We'll give it the gun material. We're going to set its Y scale and Z scale both to 0.1 and go to the selection mode here. Let's rotate this 90 degrees about the Y axis. There we go. You can see that there. And then I'm going to rotate it 45 degrees about the Z axis. And I think for the X scale I'm going to go 0.3. No, let's go 0.5. Sure. And then I'm going to hit 3 and then I'm going to hit 1 to go to front view. And this is going to be our bipod, so we'll set it up like that. Nope, we don't want it back there. We want it up here near the front. Yeah, that's good. Move it out, maybe one more. Good, okay. And then we'll duplicate this, Control D. And I'm just gonna go to the transform. Instead of 45, we'll go, instead of negative 45, we'll go 45. And then we can just move this over to the other side. Hit 1, make sure they look good. Maybe move them both down a bit. Shift select both of these and move them down. Let's kind of hard to see where they connect. Yeah, that works. I do want this one to be huge and obnoxious. We set everything else the way we want it. 50 cal, we saved it. Control S. Let's give this a test in our game. 50 cal. And oh, we didn't change the muzzle to be way out there. And hit 3 here. We want the muzzle there. All right. Whoa. Awesome. Okay, so now we're set up that we should be able to have some sort of figure out a way to actually get power-ups, whether the enemies drop them or whether they just appear and you can go pick them up. We'll deal with that in the next video.